Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Free Agents Podcast. Back today to talk some more Traitors. It's week 4, episode 7. Lots to get into after the Black Banquet and some pretty big eliminations this round. Before we bring in our guest, of course, I am Matt here, as always, with Brian Scally. Scally, what's up?
Oh, I'm doing so good. I'm so excited to talk about the Black Banquet. A little bit of the Blue podcast going on today, but I'm so excited to be talking to a legend, an icon, and our guest today.
That's exactly. It took the words out of my mouth. We're talking to and throw in there, I'm going to say Bravo expert,
There we go.
someone who I've become very familiar with over the past couple of years as I have entered my Bravo era. It is the host of Gabbing with Gib, Gibson Johns. Gibson, what's up?
Thrilled to be here. I liked that subtle Colton reference. Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We are excited to get the Bravo perspective. We are both again like newly added to the Bravo world. We've both been watching a lot over the past couple of years, but you've been in it for a long time.
I have. I've watched it truly since the beginning of Housewives. Like, it was on in my house. Like, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was on. My mom was watching that. So I've been a fan of it for a long time, but professionally it's been like 8 years or so I started interviewing them and then sort of live tweeting on the side, and then it all sort of coalesced into, I guess, where I am now, like kind of by accident. But yeah, it's a fun world to be a part of. It can be like, and I think the Traitors sort of shows this, is like it can be a really intense world to be a part of with the fans, but ultimately, I think it's net positive.
Were you into competition reality before the Traitors, or did the Housewives help bring you into that space?
Yeah, like I was really lucky. I have an older brother who has he kind of helped shape my taste in like kind of all things pop culture, and so he's like always been on the pulse. So we were watching Survivor season 1 too. And Big Brother. So those have always been big in our family. Like I've watched every season of Survivor, every season of Big Brother. So those are always been big. But I think once Bravo sort of became like work and fun mixed together, I don't talk as much about Survivor and Big Brother, and I don't watch the Big Brother feeds and stuff like that, because I still do need shows that like I don't need to take notes on, and I don't need to feel like I need to like broadcast my feelings about them. Sure. If I'm asked, sure, but I have to like protect some of that, I think, for myself just to like maintain the enjoyment. But I'm really familiar with like that sort of the lore there as well.
Yeah, Scally, we're like the complete opposite. Like, we come from this world of podcasting about reality TV, and now that we're both like stepping into the Bravo world, we're like, so how do we talk about this? I mean, it's obviously easy to talk about these crazy people on Bravo, but it's definitely different.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I totally relate to the like, I need a show that I don't have to be my brain turned on all the time, but at the same time, I'm like, well, what do I do with my hands now? Because I'm not just typing, taking notes. So it is just me live texting my thoughts to a group chat, but it is definitely interesting going through. I was there, as we've talked about, for like the first 5 seasons of OC and like some early Bravo, and then jumping back in, so that's been quite the experience. But yeah, it's a little bit of us coincidentally just falling into competition reality on the other side.
Yeah. And Gibson, of course, we're going to get into everything going on right now over in the Traitors Castle, but just kind of curious, of course, with the amount of Bravo people that are here, any of them been on your podcast before? Which, again, Gabbing with Gib, everyone check it out.
Have any of them been on my podcast?
Or at least like interacted with.
Yeah, I've interviewed Candace, Portia, Stanberry's been on my podcast before. Kristen Kish. I interviewed Kristen Kish like right after she won Top Chef, like 7 years ago, like at Sundance Film Festival, like on the side of the road, literally, like it was some bizarre setup. But not since she's been the host of Top Chef. Who am I missing? Rinna. I've never met her before. I've like been near her at BravoCon, like the year she got booed off. She got booed when she entered the stage. And then Dorinda, I know pretty well, and she's been on my podcast several times. I've known her for a while. So kind of a variety of relationships with these people from this season.
So let's jump right in. All of these crazy people that are out there on, affectionately said, on this show. What has been your take watching these housewives tear it up in the castle so far?
I just think it's such an interesting balance. Honestly, every season, I guess, of the show, like since season 2, of the sort of like housewife strong mentality, like you don't go against a housewife mindset that some of them, or a lot of them, have actually, and like the instances in which they run up against that or they betray that, and sort of like, obviously, Rinna voted for Portia right out the gate, but I think that was more. I viewed that more of her, like, it's the first night, like this is where everyone's voting, like I'm going to vote this way, but I don't think she got ahead of her skis a little bit. But then, like, we had the Stanberry moment, and it's like that was sort of a red herring, I think, to make people think there's not a housewife in the turret, perhaps. And now, obviously, this past episode, I think, or the past couple episodes with Candace and Rinna, it's this really kind of precarious balance of like, do you maintain the housewife strong mentality even if it's like going to threaten your game? And I think that Candace is really flirting with that right now, in terms of like, I don't know which way it's going to go with, her voting for Rob instead of voting for Rinna or Natalie. But I guess time will tell. I think those two were more Traitors strong than anything, like I think Housewives is in the Traitors, but that's sort of what I feel like is top of mind for me when I watch from the Bravo perspective. Because they also all know the fans are watching, and Housewives know how to play to fans.
It's true. It would have been an interesting counterpoint for the like, oh, I think I proved a housewife never votes for a housewife. Like, are you forgetting who was murdered 2 weeks? Like, so if you are so convinced that never happens, then how do we explain what ended up being 2 housewives actually murdering one of their own?
Yeah.
And also, like, Colton taking credit for that murder, for that banishment anyway, is just, I mean, really silly. That was Rob's doing.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. What did he say? He was like, I won the battle or something like that. Like he was taking full credit as if I mean, like, and granted, he got the ball rolling on it last week,
of course,
but he specifically this week said he was going to sit back, and he did. And for his own game, that probably was better. But to like make it seem like he was the one that, whatever, that's Colton. But anyway, Gibson, this season, obviously we've had these 2 housewives in the turret, Candace and Lisa, coming off of a season where there were 0 housewives in the turret, and they just go out kind of back to back to back. Of course, one of them ends up winning, but that wasn't through like incredible gameplay or anything like that. Dolores found her way there.
She fell back into that win.
And she got a portion of the win. So, we can't take that away from her. But this season has been much more centered around the main characters, the Traitors, Candace and Lisa. Lisa is going to fall in this episode, and there's a lot to get to. But you were talking about Candace. I mean, specifically, she's hiding behind the sisterhood right now. She's, she was voting for Ron every single time. And here, she's not with the group. She's not voting with the consensus, which makes her stand out. But the sisterhood is a pretty easy thing for them to just say, we're not voting for housewives. We're not voting for each other. We're in this together. So, I'm hoping it works out for her.
Yeah, me too. And I also think that, I think that Rob just should have at least tried to get Candace on board with the Rinna move, just to like kind of try to negate some of that like Traitors tension that's going to show itself next week. But I also think that like it does benefit Candace that Rinna is out, because I guess they sort of breadcrumbed us in this episode about like them being like, is it a turret full of housewives?
Right.
But I do think that like the common sort of thought in the Traitors has always been like, there's a gamer, there's a housewife, there's another person. Like they usually have a variety in there. So I think that Rinna getting out, if I'm a faithful, I'm like, oh, there's probably not another housewife in there, and so that also sort of protects Candace, I think, too.
Yeah, and Dorinda's there. So if they ever, do want to go back to who's the more likely person to be a traitor, there's still that theory that we kind of came into the season with, that they could make it Dorinda.
That's true. Yeah, I think Dorinda's had an interesting showing this season, because we've had a couple of good moments from her, but otherwise she's been pretty dialed back, which like I think was smart of her at first. But I think at this point in this season, I'd like to see her a little bit more locked in and kind of because on how you've been watching Roni recently, like she can go there, and it makes for incredible television, and usually it's around a table. So like I would love to see more of that from Dorinda. We just haven't been getting it.
Yes.
Yeah. Mora's not like my ideal person for her to pick a fight with because I think Mora's seen as pretty faithful. But on the other hand, I guess it probably is because that gets very dramatic very quickly. I am just waiting. I think Dorinda, like you said, plays quiet at the beginning, which is good. I think she kind of needs to start jumping on board. I know she says like, Mora, you only really are bandwagoning once people are accused, but it's like, Dorinda, maybe we could do a little bit more bandwagoning because you're kind of out in the
Right.
cold a lot.
Right. Like, why is she randomly voting for her? And spelling
Spelling
it
it
like
completely
Morea.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morea, if you want to pronounce it, I guess that way. Morea. You know, that's Dorinda. I'm genuinely upset though that we did not get more from that fight because it just feels like knowing those two TV characters, it could have been so much bigger. And I'm still going to hold out hope that Dorinda versus Mora will come back for a round 2, will be bigger and better, and maybe, you know, one of those iconic Traitor moments that we come to remember for years. Because Gibson, I mean, you can certainly, you know, speak to this. I'm sure you've seen this as well. The amount of people that are like, Dorinda was so promised to be like this big character and she's flopping. She's not bringing anything. And it's like so frustrating to hear that because you know what an iconic personality she is from reality TV, from her original show and everything that she like has to offer. But this is just a different arena. And I think that like we're seeing a lot of the big personalities just overall. This is something we talk about a lot, that as they adapt to this game, it's different. You still see Dorinda somewhere deep down in there, but we're expecting fireworks at every turn, but she's still trying to play well.
I know. I think it's always interesting also to see which housewives, like who we think of as Bravo viewers from watching them on Housewives as being like wordsmiths and really good in the moment and really good on their feet, and the ones that sort of, you know, the ones that do that in the Traitors and the ones that sort of haven't. And I think Rinna and Dorinda are two people who like, I mean, Rinna in particular, I was really surprised at sort of how, in the moment, her comebacks are just kind of like, no, I'm a faithful. You're a traitor. Like that
I'm
was sort of her
faithful.
response.
I'm
Yeah,
faithful.
yeah. Like that was pretty much all she could say. Whereas like Candace, I think has proven herself to be like so good in the moment. Like she's had some really good roundtable moments, I think, and some good traitor moments. But Dorinda, yeah, it's like she just hasn't lived up to that expectation. And I think it's a combination of maybe being a little bit out of her depth and also an overcorrection from last year because she just wants to be there so badly.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering is, are we going to get to a point where the same allegations that were thrown Lisa's way of like, you're being really muted for who I expected to be meeting is like, well, Dorinda hasn't leapt across the table at anyone yet. So why is that?
No.
Like,
Why is that? Right. And I think you can attribute it to maybe she's just not that great at the game, you know? Like I could see it also going the way of like Dolores, where Dorinda's just sort of like is there the whole time and could fall backwards into a win after having not much impact on the game and voting incorrectly a lot. You know, like that happens. And that happened
Yeah.
to Dolo last year. So
I almost think that Candace could be actually like, in my mind, I was making a bit of a Candace comparison to Dolores, just in the sense that like the way that Candace has been voting, I guess you could say incorrectly. I mean, she voted very incorrectly for how many weeks in a row to get Ron. And now she's voting incorrectly on, well, she's voting correctly on a traitor for Rob, but everybody else is looking at her like she's crazy because what do you mean you're voting for Rob? He's not a traitor. So I'm wondering if there's any of what Dolores was doing that could just make her look like she's trustworthy, because it's like, well, Dolores was all over the place, so is she. I don't think they're going to completely compare them, but I think there's something to that of like, okay, you need to get back on board with us, not like you're voting wildly because you're a traitor. I'm hoping again that that's the case for her.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. Like I guess I wonder how sort of knowingly incorrect. Obviously, we know she knows who the traitors are, but sort of I don't know what if that's a strategy from her or if it's just I think the Ron thing was strategy. She was like, I've been saying his name, I need to keep saying his name or keep voting that way to not draw suspicion my way. But God, the Rob vote, I'm just like, it could really go one or two ways. It really, really could. My instinct was that it was a bad move from her.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of defense of it online today too. So what do you guys think about the Rob vote and like what it means for her?
I have not seen such defense. I feel, and so I would be glad to hear some of that. But I first reaction am like, if you think you have an enemy in this game, do not give them the heads up. Like Rob did not come into this roundtable and say like, Lisa, just so you know, I'm coming for you tonight. Like that's not what you do. And I think that throwing that warning shot is, even if you think kind of Rob, like, what is he doing? Like, he's kind of like making mistakes all over the place. I think from Candace's perspective, it doesn't seem like she's giving him a whole bunch of credit. But we know that Rob is fairly capable. I feel like you give him that warning shot, he's going to start building that case like we already saw him doing after the roundtable.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not in the camp of that this was a good move for her, but I also don't think it's the worst thing that she could have done. Again, there's like a scene after the roundtable where she's walking back with Kristen Kish and Tara Lipinski, and they're like, what was that? And she was like, I don't know. I didn't think. She explained herself rather well, saying, I don't think it's Natalie, but I also don't think it's Lisa, while she was, in the rest of their minds wrong that it was in fact Lisa. There's still the housewife thing that she can fall back on and say, well, I didn't want to vote for her either
Totally.
way. The votes were there. If you guys really needed me, maybe I would have voted that way. But regardless, we do have to talk about Lisa Rinna. Very obviously. And I say that as if that would be a problem for us to do.
Oh no.
But Gibson, let me just start with the one thing that I've been the most upset about with this season so far is I did not think Lisa should have been made a traitor. I thought she would have been so much more fun as a faithful, where she would have been her usual chaotic self without a secret to hide.
Yeah, she was in her head. She was in her head at these round tables. And like, I think that we got the thing about Lisa Rinna coming back to reality TV is that she flamed out big time at the end of her time on Beverly Hills. Like, I was a huge advocate of her leaving. Like, she was iconic for so many years until she couldn't see the forest from the trees, and so she needed that break and sort of that like just like fresh air away from the cameras. And so I was curious how this was going to land overall. And it's funny because I feel like we did get a lot of great moments and quotes from her. A lot of them were in confessionals, and you're right. Like, if she hadn't had that secret, we would have gotten more roundtable stuff from her that felt like more like juicy and delicious and just like classic her. Classic Lisa fucking Rinna.
She's an actress. Exactly. She is who she is. And there was so much respect on her, from even people that probably have never seen her in a single thing before. They just heard the legacy. And so they were acknowledging that along the way. But just, I really feel like we could have gotten more of her from that. I am glad that what we did get, though, even regardless of the fact that she's the, second official traitor to fall here, but the first of like the actual turret.
Yeah.
We're all forgetting Donna Kelsey. But that's okay.
That is okay.
That's fine. But the fact that, again, she's like the first to fall here of the main turret, it's not surprising, but at least 7 episodes worth of like still iconic Lisa Rinna, the emotional way that she goes out. She was so wrapped up in the game, she didn't even mention Harry Hamlin on her way out. Harry Hamlin's going to be so proud of me. She was so focused on the game. She had such a insane
really
experience in there. She didn't even say his name.
Didn't even plug his tomato sauce. Come on.
None of it.
Right. No, I think that for Rinna, even though she was the first sort of main traitor out, I think this is a successful run for her. Yeah. Like, I don't think she was very good at the game at any point, but she was. I think that I always say the Traitors is 2 games in one. It's the actual game, and then there's also the game of being on TV and getting airtime and creating moments, because it can be such a career boon for so many people, and I think that's going to be the case for her. Like, I think this was a successful return. Seeing how emotional she was after getting banished was honestly a huge surprise. Like, I didn't, even on Housewives, like she never really showed that side of her very often, if at all. Like, she felt really touched by like just how well this went overall, I guess. And it really kind of like heartened me. I'm very much firmly back in the Rinna stan camp.
I think I agree that giving her the traitor role is probably a mistake. I think you gave her like that being her mission was to play a good game, be a good traitor on TV. Whereas if you don't give her that, like, she's going to find the role of making good TV is my mission. And so like for a TV product, I think probably worse, but I think for Lisa, like a better experience. I think that she probably comes away here with much more positive. I mean, at least what I'm seeing online is people absolutely furious that she's gone. The game is ruined. How dare you take Lisa away from us? I really did enjoy the like emotional moments that she's giving, whether at the round table or in confessional. Do you think there's any way this was so positive that Lisa decides she wants to come back in a more permanent capacity, whether it be Bravo or something else?
I don't think we're primed for a Housewives return. I just feel like two things. One, like the way that she still talks about it is very like that's in my rear view kind of messaging that she gives. And also two, like, this has been really good for her career, I think. And I'm curious to see sort of the effects that it has, but also like she's had sort of a career renaissance in the past year or two. Like, I mean, even the day that her banishment episode aired yesterday, she like opened some big fashion show in Paris or something. So she's like this high fashion girly that she was not before. She was not this when she was on Housewives. A lot of it, or some of it, is because her daughter is like a huge model now. She like blew up recently, but I don't see her returning to Housewives, but she does belong on TV, and I think that she belongs on TV as herself. And I don't know what that looks like, but like, and the thing about the Traitors is that it's the pinnacle of these sort of crossover opportunity, competition shows. So I don't want her on House of Villains, because that show to me is like has never really lived up to its like.
Oh, don't say that.
for me, like it doesn't like it never. I love the cast that they put on that show, but I feel like it like always comes out with a bang, and then it's sort of like loses steam in terms of like, attention. But so I mean, put her on there, I guess. But I would love to have her I'd love to see her have like another big moment.
Just like moment in the spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, what does that look like? I don't know.
Well, the current, jump that people have been making, the stars have been making, is to Dancing with the Stars. She already did that a long time ago. So she can't do that again unless we do an all-star season, which I don't think is happening anytime soon. That show is too popular with like current celebrities for them to like revisit. But why don't they could sprinkle in people that have already
Dancing with the Stars ever brought a star back?
Only for All Stars. They've done, I think, now 2 All-Star seasons, I believe. But it's never been like where they just mix one person back in who's done it before.
Okay.
But that would be fun.
On Traitors, right?
I don't know. Something I agree. Something big has to be coming for her, just because there's too much good there. There's too much that she can do to just have nobody be seeking her out for whatever project it is. So,
and also it's not like she's just a housewife who people know for Housewives. Like she's a name that people are familiar with, whether you watch Housewives or not. Like Candace is another person who I think has, for people that were not familiar with her, coming into the show, I would venture to presume that she's won over a lot of people, and she's had a lot of the sort of best, like kind of Phaedra-esque moments, on this show so far. So I hope that she also has kind of one of those opportunities coming for her as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is just me patting myself on the back, but I love to do that. I don't know if you had any similar type of reaction. As soon as we got this cast, we did a draft, and the first person that I picked was Candace, and I said she's going to be a traitor, or she should be a traitor, and she's going to be a really good traitor. Now, I will say, to not pat myself on the back, I feel like there's been times where, while I think she's played really well, there's been plenty of slip-ups along the way that I haven't loved, so it's not necessarily at the level that I thought she could be, but I'm still giving myself the credit for having called her out to be a traitor, and she's still doing okay.
I wonder how well Candace may have done if Lisa was not in the turret with her, almost, where she didn't feel like this loyalty. She had to defend. She didn't have to go out of her way. I mean, if she is just protecting, Portia and Lisa, etc., as they get accused, and it's like they're all just faithfuls, I think it looks a lot less suspicious than what we have now.
Yeah.
So do you think that she would have fared better or worse without Rinna?
I think probably better.
I generally would think better, but also, I mean, this whole, again, the thing that she can hide behind right now, that she's been able to hide behind, Lisa is the more out in front person that they were suspicious of turned out to be a traitor, that could really put her in a much better position going forward, even though there is some sus on her. But the person who said her name at the end of the episode was Colton, who says everybody's names, who's probably
Right.
on a lot of people's radars to get banished soon, is going to be wrong about Stephen Coletti soon. So it's not like that's the biggest indictment on her.
Right. Well, that's what I was confused about, because at the end he had said Steven at some point. I can't remember where. And then he also said Candace. So I think he'll have his sights set on one of them, and I don't know which one it is. I feel like the preview was like very Candace and Rob heavy. So I'm guessing we're headed for...
Yeah.
I mean, and that showdown is one that I'm really excited for. I could see her like reading him for filth, and he also could hold his ground, I think. But like,
I'm hoping it's not that. Like, I'm hoping they're hyping us up for that, and then it's not actually that, because it would be so bad for both of them.
I can't. I also can't have her out yet. Like, I can't have a back-to-back episodes of Rinna getting out and then Candace out. Like, that would be really devastating for like my enjoyment of this season.
Yeah.
The ideal episodes for me are where it's like Rob and Candace having like this epic battle back and forth all episode, and then like Steven goes home, Eric goes home. Like, you know, it happens.
I could take an Eric elimination very soon. He's just kind of taking up space, you know?
Yeah. Just the last things on Lisa here. Again, she left us with like a lot of really fun moments and lines. I was celebrating her in our episode recap of like the way that she left when she stood in the circle and she, you know, was like, I'm a traitor, like
stood with her hand on her hip. That was good.
With the strut on the way out that like I still don't think people are giving enough attention and credit to. That was so funny. Just again, overall, super positive on the season. Maybe her playing the game wasn't that fun, but I'm just hoping that even in the reality TV arena, I would love to see her again. Traitors All Stars, Big Brother Celebrity, bring it back. She was.
Who knows who saw that strut and said, "Put her on Paris Fashion Week."
Oh, there we go. There we go. Who got an early cut of the episode, right?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. I think that she knows how to make good TV, and that was reaffirmed. And I think because again, towards the end of that season of Beverly Hills, it just felt like she almost didn't know how to do that anymore. And this is a redemption arc for her, and it worked.
Where do you rank her battle for the past 2 episodes with Colton Underwood in her, many historic battles on Housewives? We know it's not like at the top, but
it's definitely not at the top, because again, I don't know if she delivered on the roundtable front. You know, like she could have used that confrontation that he had of her on that couch where he was like, let's go to the end together. She could have used that at some point at that round table last week, I felt. And I don't really know exactly how, but if she was just like slightly better at that round table discussion, like I think that we could have gotten like an iconic line there. We didn't.
Yeah.
But I think that she held him off for a little bit there, and I was, good for her. But where do I rank it? Oh, that's hard. I mean,
we could do the full rankings at another podcast. We'll put
I was rooting. Let's just say I was definitely rooting for her. And in past views that she's had, I was maybe a little more split on who I was rooting for.
Were you familiar with Colton coming into this?
I was. I didn't watch a season of The Bachelor, but I was very familiar with like the story and the unfortunate lore.
Hard to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how much of the season for you between the Colton and Michael Rappaport of it all has been, muddied with all of that stuff, affecting your enjoyment? Because, for the two of us or for a lot of other people out there, it was definitely weighing down the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think the Michael Rappaport stuff, like I would have loved if he wasn't even on the show, but he just took up so much oxygen in the room. And after that first episode drop of the first 3 episodes, I was like, he gets one more episode. Like if he lasted any longer, it would have been really difficult. I guess he got through episode 5. Did he get through episode 5?
Episode 5.
Yeah. So I think it was one episode too much, honestly.
Yeah. Or 5 too many, but yeah.
Yeah. No, just in terms of like really not. Yeah.
I truly wonder if they were like, we gotta put out 2 episodes the second week. Like we gotta have this end.
I think that's why. Because I was like, why are they doing 2? I think because the Tiffany thing they knew was gonna land so poorly. and particularly on Colton. Like it would have landed poorly if any of them had done that to her. But because it was him who, again, they knew coming in casting him that was going to be baggage that he had to deal with. I think that it's been handled really kind of in a way that perplexes me. But yeah, I think that's why they put those 2 episodes out. So I think that Rappaport, again, I could have done without him overall. And then Colton, the Colton thing is really, it's interesting because he's been on other reality shows since The Bachelor is coming out. He had that show where they co-hosted with Chrissy Teigen. He had like a docuseries or something. I don't follow him closely. I'm just familiar with the fact that he's been on TV. And it's, of course, none of those shows were as big as of the Traitors. And it's not this cross-section of fandoms that's going to feel really strongly. But it's interesting that sort of the party line is he shouldn't be platformed by being cast on this show. But it's not like he hasn't been platformed in a million other places since this stuff has happened. So I'm not an advocate for Colton by any means, but I just think that like people are they're sort of like tunnel vision on it, and I don't know. I don't know.
The crazy part for me about how intertwined these two have become is literally this past week, Colton Underwood backs out of Watch What Happens Live, and who's his replacement? Freaking Michael Rappaport,
so
because
crazy.
He's not, if for even a second anyone out there thought that, this was not a good showcase of Michael Rappaport. Let's, maybe not have him on things as much. You're only kidding yourself.
Yeah, the thing is, Andy likes him, and he's been on Watch What Happens Live like a million times, and that's as he told us on the show a million times, he is the preeminent Housewives expert apparently. So he fits into that. But I just think with Colton, it's like, at this point, how do you not just have like a canned answer to like speak to what you did and what happened with Cassie? Like, it's obviously a very complicated matter, but it's been years. Like, have something that you can just say, and the host can move on. Like Andy could have opened with a fan question. Hey, number one question for you. What do you say to people who think you shouldn't be on the show? Have an answer prepared and just move on. So backing out is an even worse look for him.
Right. Yep. On a more fun topic, what'd you think, Gibson, of the banquet this week?
If it hadn't been so hyped up,
that's the
thing. Like, I feel like we all are like, wait a second. Like, was it edited differently than Alan expected it to be edited? I loved the theater of it all. I loved the outfits. I loved the concept of it. I thought it was really fun. But it didn't deliver because it was so hyped for me. Right?
Totally. I feel like I usually am very happy with the Traitors editors. I feel like they do a good job of selling their story, of faking people out, of making it so I'm not like 100% certain who's going to be going home on a given week. But this felt rushed and just kind of messy. I did not enjoy it, frankly. I think that like, okay, we're narrowing them down, but everyone's just like screaming, and they didn't give them enough time to like actually have a conversation. Maybe it was like way more time and it just never calmed down. And so it's rushed. Like, well, we can't just show the same thing over and over because we don't have anything else to show. But it felt like they gave them 30 seconds. And it was like, can we just give them an hour? Like, what? Like, let them talk this out.
Yeah. If the entire banquet was a full episode of the Traitors, like they said, special episode, it's the entirety of the banquet, and the beginning was everybody meeting each other, or they're seeing each other, looking at all the fashion. Like, give us the full runway. These people looked good. They had hired some kind of professionals to get everyone dressed, and they did such a good job for the most part. Some misses in there, but that's okay. And then like just walk us through the story of this like murder mystery night, where like let us take a little bit more time thinking through all of Lisa's options. Let us take a little bit more time as they really discuss and have this roundtable of who's going to drink the antidotes. So the fact that it was so rushed is my complaint with it. But as you were saying, Gibson, the theater of it all, Alan doing his walk around the table, telling Jam that you're the one that's dead. And then Jam being rushed off stage. I watched it back right before we got on here. The way that the people in the cloaks come in and pull Jam's chair out, I'm like, I'm surprised he didn't fall out of the chair. Like they snatched him backwards.
It's very Hunger Games. It was very Hunger Games.
It really was. And then they
Yeah.
pull him out. Yeah, he was Cinna, about to get like dragged to
Right.
his public death. And it was a lot. Ultimately leading to him, it was Lisa and that whole thing.
Yeah. A couple things. Like, one is I thought Lisa coming in last with this like grand entrance. Like, I loved the entrance, but her coming in last was like such like it just felt like it placed even more emphasis on
Yeah.
her for everybody else. And I don't think that was just editing. I think she was actually last to come in, and it was like a big thing. I think that they could have made sort of like the mingling portion much more dynamic. It just felt like they were sort of standing next to a table, like kind of, air kissing each other. And yeah, it just felt very rushed, and it could have been this like epic, drawn out, cocktail party, sit down and eat.
Yeah.
Alan comes in, and I just think we heard Jam Jam say the kiss thing at the table, but the fact that nobody else did basically speaks to that, and I think speaks to how rushed and chaotic it kind of got. So I think if they do this again, they'd have to like think it out or draw it out a little bit more. What do you guys think about? Because I feel two ways about it. Jam Jam being able to say that when he left. What do you think?
I like the drama. I mean,
Okay.
I acknowledge that it's not good for the gameplay, but I want to see the drama. I want to see the screaming and yelling, and
Okay.
that's unfortunately where I have to come down on. Even if at some point in the future it takes out one of my faves in the same capacity.
Yeah. I'm definitely here more for entertainment than I am for like, wow, this is a really well thought out strategic game for the most part.
Right.
So I am ultimately fine with it, especially because Jam Jam was yelling about something that wasn't actually what murdered him. So it just as easily could have been him yelling about any other person there of like, Mora came in and air kissed me, like Dorinda like passed me a glass. Like it could have been anything.
Yeah, he's a faithful. He didn't know. Yeah.
So he had no idea. It ended up being Lisa for the wrong reason. And I think that is just probably a product of people's eyes were on Lisa because she was already really suspicious and like
Yeah.
kind of put herself in kind of the spotlight. So I think it is something that could have been said before he was taken away anyway. So I don't really have any issue with it. I wonder if production was like, we didn't really intend for this, and that's why they were so like violently grabbing him away from the table. Like,
they should have muzzled him.
yeah, like should they have been like, okay, break, like pause down, whoever's murdered, like fall into the table and don't speak.
Fall
like,
into the table.
Boom. Fall into your cold sliced ham.
The chair elevates into the air and just dumps them onto the table.
Or like literally a trapdoor, like something.
Right. Wow, that would have been iconic.
I mean, it would have
been
been
villains.
It would have been very funny if, say, Tara Lipinski was the one that actually got murdered, because she was out here calling out Dorinda, and all of a sudden, Dorinda's probably getting banished. I mean, look, Lisa had a lot of sus on her, but Dorinda was the one that served the turkey or whatever it was.
Exactly.
And Gibson, I loved your tweet about Dorinda when it comes to getting accused of being a bad host. That wasn't going to go over well. But
she's a natural server, Matt.
Yeah.
The hostess with the mostest.
Yeah.
I the one thing about Lisa, I loved her, her banishment speech, but I kind of do wish that she had stood up there in the circle of truth and been like, it was the fucking brooch, like that she had revealed how she killed, that would have been, because now they still don't know, and I kind of wish they knew.
Yeah.
Even if she had been like, you guys thought that I killed Jam Jam when I kissed him on the cheek. Well, guess what? You were all wrong.
Yeah.
It was when he fixed my
brooch.
That
would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been so good.
Do we think there could be any more to this Tara Lipinski and Natalie Anderson feud now that they were going after the same antidote, and Tara voted for Natalie? She was the only one besides Lisa Rinna to ultimately vote for Natalie, where everybody else dropped it in favor of voting out Lisa. So it's just something that I'm keeping an eye on at this point. And obviously, Gibson, right now, Natalie's game is very much hanging on by a thread, given what just unfolded here.
Yeah, I guess like up until this episode when it got brought up, I guess I hadn't clocked that she was the last remaining gamer, and so I hadn't I hadn't thought that through in terms of what that could mean about her in their eyes. So her sort of like all of a sudden being like when she went so hard for the antidote, I was like, Natalie, what are you doing? Like you're so much better at games than this. But now I understand a little bit why she did that. So, and then on the flip side, I also think that the Tara and Johnny Weir duo is kind of, if I'm a faithful, even though they give out faithful vibes like individually, like the fact that they are like really associated in real life, like kind of like the housewives, like I would consider like the fact that production would maybe want to make one of them a faithful and one of them a traitor, despite their sort of personal inclination to work together. And so that to me is a little bit unexplored on this season so far. And it's just like they literally came in as the only duo. And the last time that happened with Larsa and Marcus Jordan, he was like the first one out. So I don't know. I kind of hope so. I'd love another feud to follow on this season. So why not?
Tara's like afraid to get into it though. I mean,
I
she
know.
like last week she was like, "I'm sorry if this gets me murdered." She doesn't want to like get anyone upset at her. But this got her upset. She so much so that she held on to it to literally cast the vote onto Natalie.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'd like to see it. And I don't know. I think that like sometimes I wish on the show that they just like only did reality stars, because sometimes these like really random castings just like don't really work. Like I guess they can work, but generally speaking, they like kind of just like are there.
And they,
wondering who the best example of a random casting really is.
Like I guess Dylan Efron was
Dylan.
kind
I guess
of random,
Dylan is that, yeah,
because he wasn't
like okay.
Yeah, right. Like he was like he was like he was a breakout star, but not for anything like particularly iconic or notable.
I think it was mostly a star by circumstance that he happened to just be friends with all of the traitors.
Well, like, he happened to be playing a really good game, like going on to win. So
right.
they got lucky with that. But I don't know. Are we out here saying that Eric Nam is playing the best game? He's trusted, but like,
and whatever his name, Ivar from last season, like he won, but what did he do to get there? Nothing. So
yeah.
Just knowing how many reality stars we could cast on this show, as I'm sure you guys always think about, like, why are we giving like 5 spots to 2 Olympic figure skaters, a random singer, an annoying, shock jock guy? Like,
have we heard of the Tara Lipinski, Johnny Weir stands that are watching the show because they're on? Like, are they here? Or is it just people that happen to also know them are watching the show? I'm not saying anything.
I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. No, it's good.
I know how big they are,
and I like
world,
them. They seem like good people and they're fun. But like for this environment, I'm not sure it's working.
It's just so weird. Like, first, I would never thought I would have to hear the words like Natalie Anderson, Tara Lipinski feud. Like, that's just still so bizarre. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I think when casting shows, I think when casting some of these shows, there's a lot of like, oh yeah, and they'll be fun, like filler. But I think you really have to think about what is the worst case scenario, and what if it is just the filler all at the end, and especially when you have a season like last season where it wasn't the absolute worst case scenario by any means, but like you kind of did get a decent amount of filler at the end and people were not happy. So I think whether I am a traitor or a faithful and whether they are a traitor or a faithful, like having even like Johnny and Tara in there is so threatening for them that like I'm not going to a final 3 with them. They're going to keep me themselves and vote me out no matter what. But it doesn't feel like the show's that worried about that, and I feel like that would be such a boring ending.
Yeah, fillers just like are so likely to float to the end, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's almost, I think the idea could be good in theory, where most people that are quote unquote like the filler, random, whatever spots, some of them are good, some of them bad, whatever. They're nice people, but in theory, they should be most of the murders because they're never getting voted out.
Right.
They're just like completely innocent, not really all that suspicious. So, like, if you want to like keep all the people who might get voted out in, you're murdering all of these random people. And so I think like that should be the idea of like we're padding the deck with like some murders that like we're not going to be that upset about. But that has not been happening.
That's
for
what makes
a
it tough
while.
when they want to kill Monet because Monet is smart and is going to keep clocking them, but then you're going to end up in an end game that is filled with these faithful that are obviously all faithful. Like no one thinks that Mark Ballas is a traitor, and that's not going to change. So the only way you can get him out of this game is if you trust him all the way to the end and convince him to, end the game with you, or if you murder him and you're not murdering him. So it's
and it also, like, if you have less filler, it makes the beginning of the game like less disappointing regardless of which direction the Traitors go. So like this season they went for Ian and Rob back to back, and it's like it's hard not to think about the potential of what they could have given to like a strong faithfuls alliance or what have you. And last season it was like we got out all these housewives at the beginning that took away a lot of the personality and sort of potential for iconic television at the beginning of that season. And so like if all you have to choose from is like iconic people, then there's less of that like, oh, you should have just gone for Eric, or you should have just gone for Steven or whatever. So
I am glad that I don't have to live in the world where I see 500 Twitter accounts with 3,000 likes being like, these two ruined the show. And it's because Rob and Steven voted out a housewife. Rob and Ian voted out a housewife. Like, that would be like, I can't deal with this. But
yeah. Well, that's the funny thing that's the funny thing about coming from the Bravo world to the Traitors world every year, which is like, we generally speaking the fandom isn't as familiar with gaming, and so they really just care about seeing their favorites on there for as long as possible. And so that's when towards the beginning of our conversation, when I brought out the fact that like some people are defending Candace voting for Rob, it really is like a lot of Bravo fans who just like are really blinded by their like sort of protectiveness of the housewives, and they like that cloud their sort of judgment of what good gameplay is and isn't. And it's really fascinating to watch because people get really gung-ho about it. They get really like convinced of like, no, like Candace is thinking 5 steps ahead by vote. It's like, I don't know if that's true. It's just funny to watch it happen when the housewives get really under fire.
I just think it's funny that there's like a group of gay people that are only Bravo people and a group of gay people that are only reality TV people, because why are we not merging?
Why are we not? They're doing a normie season of the Traitors on NBC. It should be all fans from different fandoms. That would be good.
We of course, while we have you, Gibson, we have to talk about some of our murdered players. We can start with Stanberry, and if nothing else from this season, her exit of the game, the showdown with Lisa Rinna, iconic in its own.
Yeah, I think Stanberry was one of those people who I was like, if she could get to like midway through the game when there's a potential to get a lot more airtime and to just like have more breathing room, she could have been one of those people that people kind of low key like loved, because she has this like really dry, bitchy British sense of humor, and I've always liked it from her. Like Ladies of London is one of the like unsung Bravo shows from like back in the day that's really great. And we would have gotten more moments like we got around her murder, like Rita, you bitch, like that was just fantastic. And I think that she was like sort of primed to do that. She was just taken out too soon, just kind of one of those.
See you at BravoCon. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
And then of course, Portia, who is currently on a trip around the country on the Ultimate Girls trip right now, which is ending like this week with Dorinda.
At Dorinda's house
today.
Yes.
That's insane, crazy fun. I mean, look, I could not be more excited for this season. Portia included, for everybody that's going to be on it, on the main cast, the guests that are popping in along the way. But unfortunately for Portia here, cut way too short.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where I'm like, you motherfuckers, like you should have had Portia around for 7 or 8 episodes. Like God, like she is just like effortlessly good TV. Like she says one word and I laugh, it's just that she's that made for this. It was really unfortunate that she got out so early. It's just one of those things, because I think people know who she is, but I wanted the whole world to know who Portia Williams was. And this was a good opportunity for that to happen. But, that's how the cookie crumbles.
I mean, that humor that she brings to every show that she does, I feel like is really going to be highlighted on Ultimate Girls Trip, where I feel like of that group, she's the comedy there. She's the fun. Like,
Yeah.
not to say that the rest of them aren't fun, but the rest of them, maybe you're expecting a little bit more fighting in between them, and Portia can fight, but she's going to be the one in confessional. Like, what the hell are these crazy ladies doing?
Yeah, and she's the only one on the main cast who is not technically an OG. Like, she's obviously a vet
Yeah.
of Housewives, but she joined in season 5 or 6 of Atlanta
Yeah.
with Kenya Moore, and she's another icon. But like, Portia's the only one who's not a season 1 housewife, and so I think that she doesn't have that same, like, Vicky Gunvalson, Teresa Giudice, some of those women have this sort of like they feel like entitled to the throne, and they feel like they should be
Yeah.
treated a certain way because of that. Portia is going to cut through the bullshit of that because she doesn't have that air about her, and she's already feuding apparently with Vicky. They unfollowed each other on Instagram at
Love
some
it.
point on this trip. So like, you can just tell she's going to have no fucks to give and just go
Yeah.
for it.
And I totally hear what you're saying just in general. But like, let's not act like she hasn't been around longer than like Giselle or Lisa Barlow
Or Lisa, right.
Yeah. So, if there's any kind of like fight for power there, then yeah, she may not be first in line, but she'll hold her own and get her spot.
Yeah, and I think
I'm
the thing
excited.
is she has the confidence to not be threatened by any of that. Like, she
Yeah.
is so self-assured that like she doesn't really give a fuck if you don't think she deserves to be there because she knows she does.
Yeah.
That's sort of how I am thinking about it. But you're so right. You're absolutely right.
I can't wait till Scally's caught up.
Taking a
On
little time.
everything.
I'm very excited.
Even if you're
Very,
not, like,
very
you just
excited.
have to watch Ultimate Girls Trip. It's gonna be, you have to.
I mean, I think I will be forcing you to in a way of like, look, I'm going to talk about it here on this podcast in some capacity or another, patron episode or something. So either I'll tell you what happens or watch alongside me.
Oh my God, we'll figure it out.
It's going to be fun. But any other eliminated players, Gibson, that you would want to touch on? Of course, we just talked about the Housewives, but Rob and Donna and Ron Funches, Tiffany Mitchell.
Tiffany was one who I also would have loved to get more from. I mean, I think that she handled herself so fantastically at that round table. Like, it wasn't a highlight of the season because it was really hard to watch and so heartbreaking, but it was one of the most memorable moments, I think, of the season, like probably the most memorable round table. And she, like, I mean, I think her making the Cookout alliance on Big Brother, like, that is I think it's the most iconic modern competition show move of the past, like, for me, it's like the last decade. Like, that is like one of the most genius things ever, and she came up with it. And it was like, so I would have liked to see more, but I think that I was really perplexed by her attachment to Michael Rappaport. I was confused by like what she was going for there. So
To say the
yeah,
least.
yeah, I didn't get it because she's so much smarter. Maybe there was a strategy. I haven't heard.
I mean, yeah, I think it just comes down to she's made it sound like he was nice to her and was treating her kindly. And obviously at a certain point, not everybody in the game was. They were all ready to banish her with no remorse, and he wasn't. So it really comes down to that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I would have loved to see more from her.
But Scally, did we make an official prediction on our recap of who's getting murdered? I mean,
I do not believe we did even discuss the possibility, really, because I feel like I said with Tara, with Johnny, there are just some of these people who are just so faithful, and we are running out of murders. So I'm eyeing a lot of them. I think that Natalie is someone who might sneak through because people might think like, ooh, she's going to continue having heat on her. But I feel like after this week, if you really think about it, why is Natalie going to continue having heat on her after she was fighting with Lisa so much? And Lisa, I don't think, came off like she was fighting with another traitor. So Natalie should be all but cleared at this point. I just don't know if they'll go in that direction.
On the same topic, I mean, I'm diverting from the question here, but I was interested by the way that Johnny Weir was like, oh, was Colton giving us Lisa like from the turret? Like, is Colton a traitor? And he just handed Lisa over to us. So I feel like that's something that could come into play. They are looking at last season. That was heavy traitor on traitor crime. So they're probably expecting something similar to happen here. And now that they know Lisa was a traitor for sure, who else can we connect that back to is going to come up.
Yeah.
But Gibson, any official predictions?
For who's getting murdered by the traitors? I kind of think that Rob and Candace are going to go into that turret and have a really hard time agreeing on what they're going to do. So that makes me think that they won't agree on taking a big swing. Perhaps like they would have to be on the same page to go for like a really like I think it'd be kind of interesting if they took out Colton because he's such a ringleader, and so it's like what do these sort of like unremarkable faithfuls do without somebody sort of driving the ship? Like who kind of steps up? Maybe
Yeah.
that is Natalie, but I don't think they can do that right now because they just are so at odds. So I think it's going to be somebody random. I think it's going to be like an Eric or a Steven or one of those types.
I mean, we need that at this point. We need.
It's going to be really interesting because I think both Rob and Candace are like not going to want to give up someone they might see as their numbers. So especially after that round table. So I am kind of worried about maybe like a Kristen. Maybe it could be an Eric, it could be a Tara, but I just don't know exactly. I don't feel like they've been showing us particularly Candace's relationships this late in the game. So I don't know exactly who that ends up being.
I think Candace might keep trying to protect Johnny and Tara. It seems like she's got a good relationship with both of them. But yeah, I think in general, Rob has a lot more numbers. And if one of them has to give in, then Candace, Candace is not going to give up one of her few numbers versus Rob having all of the trust of everybody in the house. So Rob can cut some people. So my guess would be that it's somebody on that side. Who's going to get banished, I think, is a little bit more of something that you can kind of pinpoint. Just you can kind of narrow it down. Like Natalie's name is coming up a lot. Does Candace versus Rob come to a head? I don't think that Rob is going anytime soon, but could become more of a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be Candace this early.
I hope not.
It's soon, right? But it's like if it's not Natalie next, I mean, who? Stephen Coletti? His name
Colton?
came up.
I mean, do we think Colton's going to the end? Like he's obviously in the mix, but I feel like he's getting this. I don't know. I'm confused on how to read his edit. I guess I'm sort of like, are they?
Maybe it's like the Boston Rob, where it's like you feel like it's got to end at some point, but it was a big enough edit that Boston Rob had such a big edit, but he doesn't go to the end of the game. I mean, also, I could see Rob not being enough to keep Colton in the game. Where obviously Johnny and Tara want Colton out. Plenty of other people have just been sick of him, and it's like, all right, let's just we really have to end this.
Also, is this going to be a season without a recruitment, or what do you think? That's interesting.
I mean, at this point, yeah. Well, at least in this next episode, I don't think we get one because you would have to go down to at least one traitor. But I don't know. Their schedule always confuses me. It's like you don't murder here.
Not actually. They could recruit
here.
Didn't they add Kate Chastain really late that one season? Am I making that up?
Who? Yeah, they added, but who was left in the turret at that point? Was
usually once it's down to 2, they get the option.
Yeah. Oh well.
Usually that is the case.
I will say, if they were going to recruit here, we would have ended the episode on that, right?
I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to either. It's just I feel like that's such like an element of the game that we're not getting.
Who could they agree on anyway?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no world.
Yeah, there's definitely people that you could see Rob pulling in. I'm still going to hold out hope that Maura ends up in the turret at some point because I want to see that. But like, I think I've also seen a lot of fear from people thinking that Colton could get pulled in. Just pull him in and throw him right back out.
And then they would just be like 2-on-1ing Candace, and pushing her out. That would be so disappointing.
Yeah.
The thing is that
allow that.
Like the whole meta of it, especially if let's say Candace were to go, or if they get Candace like either before or after recruitment, you'll have Donna confirmed traitor, Lisa confirmed traitor, potentially Candace confirmed traitor. Like Rob kind of needs to recruit another man. So I'm a little nervous there.
Right.
That's very true.
That is a good point.
And I don't know if you're gonna get anywhere recruiting like Mark Ball. Maybe they do recruit Stephen Coletti at this point. People suss him.
He has like some pilot. He has like Pilot Pete DNA in him, to be like he was like such like a clear faithful. Then you sort of like flip it on its head.
Yeah, and if they just offer him right back up, then that takes a lot of heat off of them. So I don't know. We'll see. Gibson, I have one more question for you outside of this current season. But anything else on this season right now that you wanted to talk about today?
No, I feel like we've covered most of our bases. I feel like you mentioned Kristen. I'm just sort of like holding out hope that we get some. She's like a cool kind of like outspoken faithful. She's wrong, but I still like that she's at least asserting herself more than a lot of the other ones. So I'd like to see a moment from her. I don't know what that looks like, but I really like her.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed getting to meet her this season.
If we do get a Colton recruitment, I would love to see Kristen be the one to take him down.
Yeah,
that's what I want from her.
Like,
that would be
next
good.
night,
Yes,
we have to get him, and then she's
fantastic.
correct. And
Yep.
who knew that she was incorrect at first? All right, Gibson, the big question: who's coming next here into the Traitors universe from Bravo? Who do we need to recruit? There's a million different Bravo shows. It's not just the Housewives. We've seen Summer House people. We've seen Vanderpump obviously with Sandoval last season. So just, I mean, the board is wide open. Either who, and I don't want to talk like Nene Leakes, Teresa. Like, we know that those people should be coming. I'm trying to get to like some of the more underrated names that maybe even could be more realistic to come sometime soon. Nene maybe was realistic, but wasn't actually here.
I don't even care who it is, and this is not like an under the radar one, but I do need a Salt Lake City housewife in the castle at some point. Like the filming schedule makes it really difficult for that to happen, but that is something that I need to see for, in season 5. Like, that just has to happen. They have to figure it out.
Mary was rumored for season 3.
Yeah,
right.
Mary Cosby.
The other person who was rumored is Lindsay Hubbard from Summer House, who who there was the whole Dorinda stuff about her stealing her spot. That's somebody that comes to mind. But I also think about, like, I really liked Sierra last season. Was that last season that Sierra was on?
Mm-hmm.
She's somebody who is a little bit quieter at the gate, but I think that she ended up having some really fantastic banishment moments, roundtable moments. Who is in that vein?
If we go back to Vanderpump, I think Kristen Doty gets a spot.
She could be good. She'd be wrong. She'd be wrong about probably everything, but it could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would be really good. I wonder if they're going, like, because they haven't dove into like the current cast of The Valley or anything yet. So
they're busy.
Yeah. I'm wondering.
And I wouldn't really want to see like Brittany on there. I don't think. I don't really need that.
Michael Rappaport, raw in hell.
Right. And like Janet is the big villain of that show, but I don't know if that carries over into a total
I don't know if that translates.
I don't think that translates. Who could be really good, like from Southern Charm, Madison LaCroix, I think she could be really good. She's like that show is like, because Charleston is like a small town kind of city, and she is like this sort of big fish in a small pond person who has like huge personality. She's such a star, but she doesn't have that much to work with on that show. It's just like her and a bunch of Peter Pans. So I think that she could pop off in the Traitors in a way, I think, like where just kind of she gets a bigger platform.
I don't want any of those guys, please. The Southern Charm guys, keep them far away.
No, I don't need that. I don't need that. Certainly not.
So good there.
Yeah.
Maybe they close the circle with Reza. MJ's done it. Maybe Gigi.
And Gigi could let him have it for sure.
I feel like she'd be fun. Especially she seems like, I'm watching the Valley Persian style right now. She seems like she's at a time in her life where she would have fun on a show like this and just go for it.
Yeah, there's also a woman, Drew Sidora on Atlanta, who is like, she's been known to lie a lot about just various things. And she's also won a lot of people over the years. And I could see her being kind of a fun presence.
Yeah. I'm open to Cynthia Bailey. If you told me that I would be open to that when Celebrity Big Brother happened, I would have hit myself or something. I would have said absolutely not, because her Celebrity Big Brother run was the most frustrating thing to watch. But in the time since, I've come around to giving her another chance at this arena.
I don't know if you saw the clips of the Real Housewives episode of The Weakest Link, but she was on that. And that was rough to watch. doesn't bode well for any of those women going to a round table.
Spoiler alert that Jill Zarin walked away with the prize there.
Yes. Against all odds.
Yeah. Scally, any picks come top of mind? I mean, you're watching Roni right now, so.
Yeah, unfortunately could see Jill Zarin popping up here. Not that I want it, but I could see that really happening. I currently in Roni, she's been on for a little bit. I love Heather Thompson. I feel like Heather Thompson would just be like a fun, like Heather not super dramatic, but just like Yeah, just like, but like when challenged at a round table, I think she could hold her own. So I wouldn't be mad at Heather. And I feel like that's someone who's not like so involved that she would do it, but also not so distant and like obscure that they would never ask her.
Yeah.
Give me Lisa from Miami.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. That could be good.
I want to. If go ahead.
I could see Erica Jane being good at the round table.
Ugh,
That
I'm over her.
I could see that
I
being
can
Oh,
see
good.
it, but I'm over her. I want Tamara to get another shot. We didn't get enough
Yeah.
Tamara the first time around.
Yeah, she kind of was sort of in a Dorinda way, like didn't really kind of give us her full
Yeah.
self.
I don't know. They look there's so many picks that they could go to. Are you looking at lists?
I'm looking back at Roni and like Sonia's so delusional. Like it
No,
really could be chaos.
I think she's too chaotic. She's on the wrong side of the line right now.
Yeah. Like
whenever she pops up like a BravoCon and stuff, it's just like a little too.
Okay, I'm not following
what's
right
come
now,
out of her mouth. Yeah.
I mean, that side of the line is being met for me all the time on Roni.
Right, and that's the right venue for it.
Yeah.
It'll be easy for us to draft though if Sonia pops up, because just in the same way that I knew Portia was never ending up on my team if I had anything to do with it, even though I love her, I wasn't drafting her to be a winner of the game. Sonia would make that draft easy as well. So
okay.
There's plenty of people along those lines. They have a huge pool to go, pull from, whether it's current housewives, past housewives. We could be going for the next decades and never run out.
Yeah, the last thing I'm going to say is Married to Medicine is one of the unsung Bravo shows, and they're a lot of really outspoken, really good personalities on that show.
Toya,
Quad, exactly.
Get Dr. Heavenly in there.
Heavenly, oh my God, as she runs for Congress, get her into the Traitors Castle.
There's so many good picks, and look, just to speak to my story with this whole like entering the Bravo world, I didn't watch any of these shows up until the Traitors started pulling people in from Bravo shows, and so all I can continue to do is encourage anyone who has the time to even just pick one show and start watching it, because there's so many reality TV gems in these shows that you'll probably see on future seasons. And for someone like me who comes from a world of just Survivor, Big Brother, The Challenge, like just knowing that there was so much more out there, and by no means am I done. So,
I love to hear it.
That's the plug. Gibson, though, what's the plug for you? Where can people check out more from you? Very nice to get to chat with you today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This was amazing. My podcast is called Gabbing with Gib. It's at least twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. It's a lot about Bravo. I've been covering the Traitors, though, mostly every week. Not recaps, just kind of like touching down on it with people as we discuss all the shows. I just had Rob C on to talk about his time on the show. So yeah, Gabbing with Gib, wherever you get this great show. So thanks so much for having me. This is really fun. Well, I'll have to have you guys on to talk about the Traitors before the season's done.
Would love to.
Time. Okay, good.
And real quick, but you had a fun time at the Traitors experience?
Yes. Oh yeah. I did that with Rob and Derek. Like they were just randomly there. It was really well done. Like I was like, it was this huge building, and we'd played like 3 or 4 missions, and we had murders and a recruitment, and like it was, and then the round tables in this, like, I'm sure you saw videos and stuff, this huge room. It was really awesome. I was like, I could have done that for 5 hours. It was like an hour and a half maybe, but I felt very lucky to be there, honestly. And I was banished because I was the least trustworthy at the table, allegedly. Yes.
Wait, did Rob vote you out?
Rob, well, how my banishment worked was we were all standing by our chairs, and Derek had just been banished, and he was a faithful, and he started, and they were like, who do you trust the most? Who do you think is the most trustworthy? He pointed to somebody, and then he sat down, and then they kept going. And I was in the last 2. And I was, and so they didn't directly vote for me, but the guy who I was in the bottom 2 with ended up being a traitor, and he won. So They picked the wrong guy.
Sounds like fun. I wish at least Scally could have gotten to it, because he would have won. But
I can see it.
That's just me saying. But all right, well, everybody make sure you check out everything that Gibson's got going on. A very good Twitter follow for all things Bravo, but especially right now in the Traitor season. So check everything out that Gibson's got. Scally and I are here talking about the Traitors. We're rewatching old seasons of the challenge on our regular podcast feed, where again you can get our main episode recap of each episode in addition to all of these fun episodes that we're talking to great guests along the way. Scally, anything else today?
Anything I'm doing, you can find on Twitter at Brian_Scally, and I'm excited for next week's episode.
Yeah, check out the letterbox. It's got all the reviews. Plowing through a bunch
I have
of
so
movies.
many movies to see this week.
I checked Scally's letterbox, and it's like he reviewed something, and then he added 7 more movies to his list.
Wow.
It's been a lot. I tried to be
like
a movie boy again. We're getting there.
They're long.
Check that all out. Check me out on the Diary Room, which I might have to reach out to Gibson for, because I'm learning today that he's a bigger Big Brother fan than I even knew. Talking all things Big Brother, getting to the best player in Big Brother history at some point. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you, Gibson, so much for joining us, and we'll be back soon. Until then, take care, and we hope to see you all in the future.